We're set to roll in on a Friday night football. Beautiful night, 4:40. Dygan is 34. Reid is 20. Carlton desperate for a victory. They've lost 6 of their last 7. Cruiser, well, he gets an early touch, but umpire Donlan wants it back.
Dygan's gone forward, actually playing a defensive forward role on Maxwell by the look of it.
Umpires tonight, Donlan, Finlay and McInerney. Comes down as Swan. Well, July starts off as June wet. Goldsack over the football, tracks it. Trying to get it out, virtually hands it across the doors. It spills out behind. Blair, a half chance, kicks it up in the air. Swan, second possession already. Geez, hard to bring down. Hooks it, goal. It floats about 5 metres out. Jamieson hurt himself. Jamieson hurt himself with the first spoil.
Well, he went off last week and you thought he was gone for a few weeks.
So that's a disaster, isn't it?
Psychologically as well.
And he's on his haunches in the goal square. So Collingwood will have an extra somewhere.
Good butter up there by Gibbs. We'll see the...
That was just a punch.
He may have dislodged the shoulder by extending on the spoil.
Blair ran hard at it from Cruiser's tap, and that one will be a ball up.
Let's face it, tonight's all hands on deck for Carlton. You can't really worry about next week. And if Jamieson was a bit sore going in, you're hoping you'll get away with it, but he looks very sore after that innocuous spoil.
Jolly lays it down. Willingham can't quite break Carazzo. And then Beams, well done, Judd. Hands were pretty good. The Yarran had it taken off him by Blair. Side bottom, Shaw kicks to the pocket. And Jamison's up and about, but not sure how much about he is, but he is up.
Some good signs already for Collingwood. You know they're on when they set up defensively in their front half like they've already seen an intercept by Maxwell. Shaw's bringing the ball back in. Their structures look on song early.
Jolly wins it down. Judd sharks it, did well. There's Simpson hurriedly onto the boot to midfield. Dygan appears to be matching up down there with Maxwell. He runs on as Maxwell feeds it off to Buckley. Buckley is a good kick. This one no exception. Well, Jamieson had to go again, and that time didn't make contact. It looked better in the process, but the mark has been taken a couple of metres out. Travis Cloak should kick another goal. And I say another, he's got 31 so far this season. Got 69 last year, and he pops it through. They don't need for him to get on a good start. That early goal obviously could affect his confidence in a positive way. 2 big guys talking it up down there. So Collingwood playing the entire game so far down their end of the ground.
That press has been effective, hasn't it? And Blair's been heavily involved. Jamieson obviously involved in a whole lot in the first 5 minutes.
Just thinking, Tom, it's hard enough to push against a big defender with 2 good shoulders. If you're a bit weak, it must be a problem.
Well, you lose all your power, and Jamison's going to need all the body strength he can against the best contested mark in the competition. It's a huge challenge for the Blues.
Gee, Blair's been busy early. He's reading Cruiser so well. Chaos at centre-half forward for the moment. Dawes for Solo. And then Buckley again belting the ball forward. Cloak and Jamieson in the pocket. And Payne, did he tap it back? A boundary throw-in. So for the 10th consecutive game, Collingwood have kicked the opening goal of the match. Talked a lot about the start pre-match, Tim, with Nick Maxwell. Just how hard.
One of the first 2 centre bounces. Once they get the ball in their forward line, Collingwood, very hard to get it out.
And that one got out by Beams quite cleverly. Simpson's hands to Scotland, who played in a couple of grand finals against Lee Matthews' Brisbane Lions as a Collingwood player in 02 and 03. Played in those grand finals as a Magpie. But it's gone from strength to strength at Carlton as Scotland. So Jolly trying to tap it back. Walker very deep. It took a long time to get rid of it. Just can't get their hands on the footy here, Carlton. Shaw belts it back in. Tui forced to kick in a hurry. O'Brien, he had to really go for a search there, didn't he? Oh, Betts clever.
Judd the half volley, then back up wide to Walker, bypass Betts. Now Betts is on again. Walker, though, kicks down towards the pocket. Not sure that was the option. and it bounces off Carlton and goes out of bounds. Tim?
Carazzo's been given the job of going with Dane Booms. They're actually both gone off the ground. Now, last time they played early in the season, Carazzo went to Pendlebury and held him to 15. We know Booms is in extraordinary form at the moment, but he's going to have his work cut out tonight to grab hold of the pill.
Hampson, brilliant down to Collins, and Collins, I think, has booted a goal. Big Nick would have been proud of that one. Hampson just flicking it down behind, and Collins, who started on the bench tonight, lurking behind. Obviously no one really thought he was a serious threat in that situation, stayed off him, and as a result able to waltz in and snap the goal. So they're down by just a point. All the attacking at one end. Carlton go forward once and get the goal.
This is the end result here, and it's a good bit of ruck work, and Collins getting on the end. But this is where Collingwood are vulnerable because they squeeze so far up as half-backs. If you can get it over the top like we saw with Eddie Betts before, that's their best avenue to goal.
Jolly went early. Swan just got a fingertip to it and then couldn't quite. Walker in hard. Collins has been sub in 2 of the 4 games he's played so far this season. He's had a good start tonight. Scotland, and then Gibbs with a squeezy one forward. Good play by Shaw against Armfield, and then Swan. Good tackle, actually. He went forward, Swan, and now he's gone.
The ball. Don't genuine attempt to knock it out, Dane.
You don't see Swan caught often, do you? And now Simpson low and long. Hampson makes a contest. Marty Clark is in for Brown tonight. Shaw off a step. Heard the umpy say touch, touch, touch. Shaw wants touch. He found touch. Boundary throw in.
You know, they haven't got a lot of midfield quality, I guess, Carlton at the moment, particularly with Murphy out. So it looked like Joseph looks like he's trying to play tight on Swan, and obviously Carrazzo on, as Tim said.
Cruiser, first hand to it, got some separation on the approach, side bottom, thumps it forward, taken by Yaron. Wellingham got him. Hand pass came from Vasolo. Around the outer side, the ball bounces down towards half forward. Collingwood not sending it in style. Over the football, Gibbs, taken away by Elliott, just lays it down for Sola, bobbing, weaving, got it out to Thomas. Thomas sweeps it forward. On the outer side, the hand pass came back from Buckley. Clever, Cloak, Thomas now. Forward of the wing, kicks inside the forward 50. This will be interesting, coming across on the angle. Scotland is taken down by Buckley. Ball rolled out, umpire let them play. Joseph gave it to Watson, kicks it up towards the wing. Daigan, terrific. Bounced off a would-be tackler in Heath Shaw. Goes down towards half-forward, Hampson.
Goes back to Armfield. He's been a goal kicker in the last few weeks, Armfield. He does the team thing, but he didn't strike it well. And Garlett for the second time on a lead in the pocket tonight. This was important early.
Yeah, really important. Nick Daigan playing cross half-forward on a defensive role against the Collingwood skipper, Nick Maxwell. Armfield just needed to hit that target. The play was set up. Garlett was out. Not good enough.
So Jolly worked under it by Hampson, but Collingwood don't make 2 mistakes like that in a row, and they got to where they needed to. Blair to Reid to Fasolo, backtracking Yaron. Well, he did well, Yaron. He made him go back, back, back. And now Maxwell off a step to Reid. I'm going to say something silly here. Carlton look better tonight, even though they're trailing.
They've got a bit of life about it. They're trying to move the ball quickly.
And here, a real chance here. Better than they did for the whole night last week. Simpson hurried it a bit to fall forward. Now Hampson could never get a crack at it. And they've got to do better than that when they're going forward. Simpson had an opportunity there.
O'Brien took the mark. Gave it out to Heath Shaw. Sweeps it forward. This is Williams like him. Lays it forward to Clark. Scuttles away from half-back. Goes down towards half-forward. Jamieson gives the body adroitly. Favoured by that work was Collins. Slips a hand pass away. Cruiser needs to be precise, and he was. Between 2 Collingwood players was Watson, and he's taken the mark. Watson goes back. Joseph takes the half volley. Jamieson is on. Jamieson has it now. Tui is breaking. He can't get it that far. Just pops it over the top to Gibbs. Not a lot of conviction in that, and eventually he gives it to Yaron inside the centre square. Back end of it as far as the Blues are concerned. To Gibbs. Running past now, that's better. Releases Yaron into space, stretching his Cruiser alongside the centre circles.
This is one thing they haven't been able to do, Tom, is to take marks in recent weeks. This is been a slow build-up by the Blues, but it's worked so far. Hampson attacked hard. Scotland broke the line and then wobbles the ball to centre-half forward, and Dygan, who's becoming an influential forward tonight, takes the mark.
He's been impressive, Hampson. Every time the ball's gone forward, he's got some real life and run and got off read and really attacked the ball, although he looked like he might have got a knock on the knee.
I think his knee made contact with Swan, who's coming off as well.
Swanee there. So Dygan, just one goal in his career. He wouldn't have had too many shots. So he's going to wind himself up from 50. Well, he's doubled his career total. He's made an early statement. Good win for Brett Ratton too. There's been a lot talked about Carlton. You know, the fact that they needed to pull a rabbit out of the hat tonight. Well, the rabbit they've pulled out of the hat is Dygan forward. That's the first rabbit they've used, and well, he's done some good things, and more importantly, he's kicked a goal and put them in front. They're up and up now. Hampson, that's not looking so good because he's been a really good competitor.
Well,
that looks like one of those knees that every now and again the ruckmen do on ruck contests when they jump into the other ruckman, so they'll be really hoping that isn't a posterior damage.
well, we hope so too, but he's done valuable work. Swan's off the ground at the moment as well. Judd kicks inside the forward 50. Coming up is Collins, whistle.
I think Brett
and
landed
it's
on the
going
ground
to
first,
be
then got the ball.
a free kick to
You think he landed on
Collingwood.
the ground?
Robbo can't believe it.
On the ground, not looking.
Doesn't happen, Robbo.
He's a
They
bit
don't
early.
look.
Stop. Made a penalty. Threw the ball away. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
You mentioned confidence before the game, Dennis. I reckon a few minutes in, Carlton are feeling a little bit better about themselves than they were before the game started.
Yeah, I reckon you're right. Ball goes out wide. Dawes. It was gutsy moments ago by Swan, but he caught one fair in the ribs and came straight off the ground as the kick goes inside the forward 50. Falls in front. Blair has been so active. Can't keep it in. Boundary throw in.
Collingwood defenders, that's young Payne there hobbling a little bit. The Carlton defenders, I should say, really owning the corridor, forcing Collingwood to attack through the pocket.
So Wellingham, just a quick kick forward. Payne in the front spot. Good job by McGuinness at the back. So a couple of young Colts there together that have played very little. Yaron up and about. He had a much better week last week, Yaron, didn't he? He showed a bit of form against Hawthorn. So the switch from Carazzo. Betts, very, very deep. Kicked 5 goals the last time they played, Betts. Little one to Watson, natural lefty. So released him on the right side. Now they can go. And they've got the right bloke to go in Garland. But he stops in his move. Puts Walker under the pump. Doesn't quite break 2V. Was it a throw? Oh, that's bad luck for Carlton.
They're away there, Bruce. That's their best avenue to goal. And incorrect disposal.
Yeah.
Didn't get a fist on it.
I'm sure, did he get a fist on it? I think the replay might have shown that he may have got the little short fist.
So that one asking a lot of Fasolo. Back to him was very good.
He's been brilliant for Solo. Gives it across to Dawes. He fumbles, goes to ground. That's holding it. For Solo, 6 possessions already. Midway through the term. This is McGuinness. Just gives it across to Collins. Collins in 2 minds. Got the first goal for Carlton. Chain of hand passes. Finishes up with Cruiser. Kicks inside the forward 50. They've got the spare man. O'Brien worked hard, so that Shaw didn't need to. Out wide. Clark sends it forward. Swan is back, so he's okay. And that's good news for Collingwood. Side bottom. Got it from Swan. And a searching leader's Cloak. It didn't stick. He goes again, Cloak. Well, he did brilliantly. Got it to Williams. Williams pops it to open space. Goldsack running back towards the boundary line. Takes the mark.
Just a key stat, Carlton have had 11 tackles already. It is always a visible sign of effort, the amount of tackles we've had. So at least they're competing. If they can keep this tackle rate up, they'll have their 80-90 for the game, and they'll make at least it hard work for Collingwood.
And Goldsack is earning our respect. He's kicking very good goals lately. This is not beyond him. Pretty tough, though. Out on the mark, about 40 metres out. Goldsack gives it a ride. It's close, just missing. becoming pretty dangerous on that forward line.
Kicked 14 goals in his last 8 matches, Dennis. So he's one of those guys who's changed his whole CV in the last sort of 2 months, hasn't he? Down to you, Tim. What do you got, Tim? Curnow's kick.
Hampson's off and Brock McLean's been activated, so that's a real blow for the Blues early in this game.
Gee, that's massive, isn't it? So not a like for a like either. And remembering they went in with 2 tools tonight, so there's some irony in that, isn't there? As Walker's kick forward, it was touched, so Maxwell had to stop and prop. Good hands to Clark. Then Clark off a step. Well, mark taken.
It's all right, just bring it back.
Just on that, Bruce, every now and again you get an opportunity to really make a statement. So Cruiser is now the lone big man out there for Carlton. We saw Paddy Ryder in a big game. I think it was an Anzac Day game, really stand up for the Bombers. This might be his moment.
So who else goes into the ruck? You wonder, because obviously Waite doesn't play at the moment. So, gee, it's a very different looking Carlton team, isn't it? Beams having just an All-Australian couple of months.
Yeah, the other key position size, they got Jamison. Well, he's got the Cloak matchup, so he's not going to be leaving that. They've all of a sudden gone from very tall 200-centimetre players to very short, Carlton.
Beams to the outer side, arriving very quickly. Buckley managed to get through. 2 hand passes down towards the pocket, tracking it back. Curnow, bit slick for Watson, side bottom. He's trouble in this situation. Goldsack took it away though for Collingwood. Too hot for Dawes. Well done by Gibbs. Quality in tight. The kick was smothered though. Back towards Gibbs. Betts helping out. Deep in defence. Awkward bouncing football at half forward for the Magpies. Down went Shaw, diving after at Armfield. Over at Scotland, getting through. Blair released it brilliantly to Williams, but Williams, his kick is way offline and goes out of bounds on the full. Williams, who played 2 games of league football for Claremont, is rookie listed by Collingwood, comes from Albany in Western Australia.
And has made a real impression. This is his 6th consecutive match. Just covers the ground so well. It's not a great kick, and Cloak all alone.
Been good at this so far, just the repeat inside 50s, the Pies. That comes from a really sound defensive setup.
And then Cloak's long ball to the goal square. Goldsack and Dawes with the biggest flyers. Carlton need to get it over one of the lines in a hurry. And they get it over the one that can't cost them anything but a behind.
Gee, a bit lucky not to get away with it down the field.
Yeah, Robinson.
I mean, that's just a late bump, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, you know, because he kicked the ball 50 or 60 metres, so you know the bump is after he's kicked the footy.
Gibbs's kick was a dangerous one. Judd to try and clean up. Did well, Judd. Really well to send it forward.
Curnow tracks it out wide. Not to his advantage by Joseph. This is Robinson, decides to go back to McLean, who gave the ball to him. Now Carrazzo on the outer side to half forward Armfield. He's about 80 metres from goal. Looks back to the corridor, needed to be precise, and he was. Curnow 60 metres out. Lays it off by hand. Scotland, normally a long kick. This is not bad either. Oh, terrific mark in defence by Swan. Last week against Fremantle, a couple of times when Fremantle were challenging, Swan just took the game by the scruff of the neck, and you sense he's about to do that here. This ball's knocked across the boundary line. He's in the mood, Dane Swan, at the moment. He's getting very busy, and this is a terrific mark.
There's not much he can't do, Dane Swan.
That's overhead, isn't he?
Yeah, that's terrific. 6 now marks from opposition kicks, really setting up well the Pies.
It's frightening when he can do that in the forward 52, can't he? So, no, he's a wonderful player. Judd sweeping the ball out, and here is Brock McLean to Walker. Now Walker's within range, and that's going and going, and Betts will get a free
Nick
kick.
Maxwell's free, no score. That's off. He's got to be allowed to go for the mark.
Okay.
Dennis, push out. That's it.
So
No, he's fine.
Betts.
They normally allow that kind of shepherding on the goal line, don't you? It's almost like the goal line rule. Shepherd there when you can't shepherd anywhere else.
Gibbs in hard. Done well, Gibbs.
That's a great shot on the goal line, though, isn't it? Here's Yaron. Just pops it inside the forward 50. Armfield takes the mark on his chest. Reid didn't get his fingertips to it.
Isn't it amazing? We saw Carlton play last Friday night, and they look so much quicker tonight.
Yeah.
Now, you leave one 200-centimetre player. It's amazing. One player less, one real tall out and one short in can have that kind of effect, but they're playing quick tonight, which is what I think they need to do, because if they've got any advantage, it's that they have got some speed, some leg speed.
Got a difference between wanting to win and willing to win. Tonight they seem willing to win. There goes the kick, straight through the middle. Carlton skip away.
He's been a goal kicker Armfield in his last half a dozen matches.
Just centimetres away from that ball, Reid. It can be a game of centimetres, can't it, sometimes? Reid trying to get his fingertips to it, landed on the chest of that man, who's become a really important pinch hitter for them.
So the Blues sneak away.
It's been a real win for Brett Ratten in this first quarter. You see on screen now Armfield and who's Shaw. Now he's doing a defensive job on Shaw. He's scored a goal. Daigan, as Lee mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he's doing a defensive job on Maxwell. He's scored a goal too. So 2 wins for the Blues.
For sure. Armfield 5 goals now in his last 4 matches. Joseph out wide. The race is on. Curnow got a good bounce on Clark. Armfield was in hard there, and then he got legged. And that's 50. No, it's not 50.
For the play.
So he's sure obviously not knowing what was going on and given the benefit of the doubt.
Thanks, Dennis.
So have a look what's up in front of Armfield, and he's kicking carefully. And Carlton has been precise. This is the old Carlton when they were playing some good footy. They were finding targets.
Well, Lee spoke about Carlton looking quicker. Part of the quicker is the ball movement, the accuracy of actually kicking the ball.
Can Cruiser take a big one forward? You betcha.
That's a big win, isn't it?
Yep.
That he can go, he's been able to go forward on Jolly. And he's just going to have to, I just can't see who else is going to even relieve Cruiser in the ruck. So you wouldn't think he's going to be able to ruck from, you know, full forward line to full back line, but that's a really strong mark deep.
He's got most of the strapping off tonight, Cruiser.
It's almost a bit easier to mark against a ruckman than mark against a big key defender, isn't it?
Well,
different altogether.
Only Carlton have kicked more than 3 first-quarter goals against Collingwood all year. They got 7 against them in round 3, and they've still on 3. So a big miss by Cruiser.
Big miss, but take the confidence out of the contested mark. It was a fantastic mark. Had the ability to draw Jolly and make him play as defender. Really needs to harness that moment.
Shaw goes short, very short to Reid.
That's it, Andrew. Play
So the Blues by 10. As Reid drives it towards the outer side. Big leap out there. Wonderful mark, Elliott. 15 tackles last week. Here's the full package. Just chips it out to Swan. Well, we know he is. Interesting, Elliott from the Murray Bushrangers via GWS. Comes back to Williams. Williams deep into his own defence. O'Brien. Well, this is a one-on-one. This will be interesting. Shaw, aided by a good kick, gets there, takes the mark. Comes towards the interchange gates. Maxwell releases Thomas. Thomas one bounce, looks inside the forward 50. Sets his teammate a pretty hard task there. It was Elliott again who knocked it down. Fasolo kept it in. Hitting the pack hard, Wellingham, upended. Elliott goes once more. Over the football is Scotland. Well done by Simpson. Curnow, quick hands. McGuinness ricochets across towards Maxwell. Great stuff by Robinson. Got him down.
Double the tackle count now. The Blues more than that, 18-8, and still dominating possessions, 83-72.
These angled runs through midfield are hurting the Magpies at the moment, although they managed to thwart this one, at least for the moment. In trouble, Yaron. He's tackled. Head down, stumbling forward is Swan. Umpire lets them play. Clark whips it out. Jolly, Beams, and now Reid.
On that left foot, probing kick, wants Cloak. Jamison was quick there, was able to get from behind Cloak to in front of him, then that shoulder gets tested again. That's a good win for Jamison. Gee, he was gone for all money 15 minutes ago.
What could have happened with that spoil when he looked like he was really sure in this shoulder, but all of a sudden he looks he's okay again?
So Jolly and Cruiser, Blair so lively.
Take away high. Thanks, Al.
Played 48 games, Blair, and he's lost 6 of them. I mean, he's just got Selwood-like numbers for wins and losses. He's just had a fantastic run at Collingwood. good coincidence, I know, but he has made a difference. Kicks the ball now to half forward with Mark Wellingham. He is so strong overhead for his size. And then belting forward. Swan couldn't quite. Fasolo, does he keep it in? It's a behind.
Just on Jamison's shoulder, Lee, we've had word that he was winded in the contest.
Oh, okay, wasn't his shoulder.
Mark is taken by Simpson.
Changes the dynamics a bit, Den.
How do you mean? Short one goes back to the square.
His shoulder's fine.
Could have fooled me. There's Joseph. Just pops it to McGuinness. What a night for this young man. Speaking of shoulders, he was dogged by a shoulder injury. He was drafted back in 2010. McLean finds a way through, drives it up towards the wing, stretching. Buckley did well and knocks it across the boundary line. So we've got a throw-in out there approaching quarter time on Friday Night Football.
So Buckley, 11th consecutive game for him, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider the ins and outs he's had through his stretch, it's a good little patch he's having. Beams ridden down. Carazzo got through, released a left footer in Simpson. High ball, but they just have no height forward tonight. It's a very different forward line. And Maxwell bravely takes the mark. Daigan coming in hard. Gee, when you think back to Hampson's...
And he started well. I mean, it's going to be... Andrew Walker's going to be critical now because he's not a really tall player, but he's the forward most likely to be able to jump at a high ball.
Someone's got to make a contest, Lou, don't they? Wellingham, oh, not a great kick. Joseph got a fingertip, and then on the up, Curnow has just come off interchange, hurries the kick to half forward. Collingwood have got the numbers. Gee, that's a good mark. That is a great mark.
We saw the result with the Cruiser contested mark before, but this can't be the way that Carlton bring the ball in. They're not going to kick too many goals, Lee, if they continually bring it in contests like that.
But I think on the other hand, Tom, they've just got to keep forcing it in because I don't know whether they're good enough to be precise and take it in slowly.
Here's Williams, reads mark of beauty at centre-half back.
Couple of bounces, runs beyond the wing. He can keep going. Carazzo making no impression. Williams goes long down towards full forward. Fasolo set himself. Ball free at the back. Goldsack lays it off. Fasolo, a sharpshooter, snaps. It's the post. Gee, he's having a turn. Fasolo, he's up to 8 possessions now. Just the one kick, 7 hand passes.
Well, those points, you're talking about when you've got a small forward line, kick the ball to the space. Yeah. Like if you don't kick it in the air, I mean, but that's a hard thing for teammates to do, to kick it into space to try and allow your ground level players to do it. You're naturally kicking in the air.
McGuinness fitting in nicely back there. Chain of hand passes. Tui comes away. Too much of it showing to Maxwell. Knocked it down in front. Jolly got an arm in there. Daigan knows no other way. Watson's kick slays off the outside of the boot. And the mark is taken by Shaw right on the boundary line. Either one of the two there could have gone out of bounds on the full. There's the siren for quarter time. So a bright start by the Blues. They booted 3, 4 scoring shots to 6, but that's the scorecard that counts right there. Carlton 3-1-19, Collingwood 1-5-11. So Hampson off the ground. Do you share the view it could be the making of Matthew Cruiser, Luke?
I hope so. He started with a nice mark in the forward 50 and hopefully continues at this quarter.
Let's go. Here's Bruce.
So the start of the second term, Collingwood with their lowest first quarter score for the season, as Carlton banged forward, and Daigan, who started as a defender forward on Maxwell and kicked a goal in that opening quarter, takes a mark within range.
It's been the statement that he's made. He's taken a mark, kicked a long goal, he's set up bursts from half back, and now he's got the first opportunity to impact the scoreboard for the second quarter. This has been a great move by coach Brett Radden.
Well, his first kick was further out than this, and it was a very good one. So only kicked 1 goal in his career before tonight. That looks good. Is it going all the way? I think so. He's kicked 2 goals. You would have bet big money on that at the start of the night, and Carlton get a break.
The one thing you know about Nick Maxwell, he reads the play so well. Sometimes if you play off him and then attack the ball when it's in the air, Nick will take you where the ball's going. And I think that's what Nick Daigan's working on.
He's had a good night, Lee, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, it's when defenders go forward, they kind of usually will attack the footy early. Often they then start waiting for the ball to come, but certainly in the early days, and that's exactly what's worked for him tonight.
you get released off the chain, you know, the coach says, if you're a halfback, say, look, you're going to start forward this week, you start rubbing the hands together. He's certainly had an impact, probably been the most influential player on the field so far.
He wasn't that animated at Meredith. Falling to the ground, Beams gets a hand pass out, chopped off though by Gibbs. Hand passes into the path of the little guy. Blair gave it off. They work it across half-back. Sweeping hand pass came from Steele's side bottom. Now running the outer wing is Thomas. Looks down towards half-forward, barely inside the 50. Dawes came to it. Spiked there by Cloak, knocked it forward. In desperate trouble, Scotland taken down. Cruiser jams it on the boot. It runs back towards midfield. Missing it was Garlett. Missing it too was Clark. Garlett came back strongly. They battle after the football. Garlett, it was short-lived. He got to his feet, put down by Clark, and the umpire eventually decides to move in and offer some praise.
Might be showing Carlton's forward. That was just a scrubby kick along the ground. It sounds strange, but sometimes Carlton just have to scrub it forward along the ground and let their speed be a factor.
So Beams, who had a quietish opening term, Carazzo doing that job, and then again a ball up. It was Cruiser that scrubbed it forward there. He's been important, Cruiser. He's had a really good start here.
Hold a block here, fellas.
So the one big stat difference, Tom, in that opening term was the tackles, wasn't it? I mean, it was a huge advantage for Carlton. Williams, Beams, Harry, clever Williams, well done. And then Buckley sort of toe pokes it forward. Yaron, well played Yaron. Look at he's running himself into form. He did it last week, Yaron. He got a fair bit of the ball. He had 17 against the Hawks in his previous 4 matches. He'd averaged 8 disposals.
So Robinson down towards half forward and immediately comes off for a breather. Off hands it falls to Thomas, to Wellingham. Stood up. His hand pass was half smothered. I thought he was going to try and evade his way out of there. He did not. It comes wide. Shaw got it from Thomas. And the ball goes out of bounds. So just for the moment, they're not going as smoothly, Collingwood, as they normally do. But then again, not many teams win 11 in a row. Maybe we've overlooked that tonight. They've been up and winning for a long time. Ball goes to the back of the pack. Gibbs trying to spin his way out of trouble. Met solidly by O'Brien for Solo. Gave it to side bottom. Boots it down towards half forward. Down goes Payne. And the ball is out. McGuinness has made a nice debut. He's a good size. And he's been working solidly back there. Unobtrusive, but knows what to do. Just running Payne off the line of the ball there. Boundary throw in. Jolly's in front. Could be well match determining, I think, how that battle goes. Here's Simpson. High ball down towards half forward.
Collingwood with some good numbers. Dygan did well. He just sort of shoved his opponent out of the way. And then Betts, he asks a bit of Collins here. Clark to get back. Collins' handball. Garlett, well, I think it was meant for McLean out wide. And Garlett chopped it off. Robinson off a step. Is that Betts back there again? It is. Eddie twisting and turning, couldn't quite. In the pocket, Joseph, and a boundary throw. Betts got close there to getting the space he needed. Kicked 5 in round 3 against the Pies. He actually gave Harry a touch-up that night, didn't he? And O'Brien got himself back in form the next day, the next week against Port Adelaide, when he played that loose man down in the back line. Blair got it from Swan to Dane Beams, and then Beams with a lovely leg getting the ball way out of trouble. Yaron tried to get a little handball across to Tui and couldn't quite, and that looked in the back against Collins, but it hasn't been paid, and now it's a ball up.
Close.
Yeah, he did fall forward, didn't he?
Different Carlton tonight. 7 days, a long time in footy. Robinson knocks it down. McLean tackled immediately. Side bottom got him down. Falling over the pair of them was Robinson. And now, is that no attempt? No, it's in the back. So McLean, the bottom of that pile of 3, gets the freeze 55 metres out. He looks down towards full forward. Long kick. Plenty of Collingwood players there. One of them, O'Brien, got a fist on it and deflected it back across the line.
It's a fine line, isn't it?
Yeah, is it?
So that was what the free was for, obviously.
Just wonder who's going to take a mark for Carlton on the forward. A high mark. I mean, that ball getting belted in high.
Well, and Luke Hodge touched on it at quarter time. Collingwood experts at rolling off the third man to come up and create the contest. I like Lee's theory about scrubbing the ball in, even kicking to the fat side into space, but the one player who potentially can do it is Andrew Walker.
Yeah, he can take a hanger, can't he? So Collingwood for Solo starting this, getting it wide. Cloak, who's been the lone goal scorer for the Pies. Long ball forward. Watson, well done, Elliott. He got to the right spot. Gold sack side, bottom. G. Robinson's tackle was terrific on Buckley. And that ball into dispute and it'll be a ball up.
Yeah, be happy. If you're a Carlton supporter watching this, you're saying, well, our team's coming out and having a go. I mean, every time the Collingwood player gets the ball, they're being besieged by a Carlton jumper. And, I mean, if you're doing that, they're competing hard. They're just making the game run their way.
Cruiser and Jolly lock up. Jolly won it decisively, but wide of the pack, it's Walker. Now the ball in dangerous hands. Yaron won. A second bounce, then carries him beyond the wing. Looks down towards half forward. Nothing much is on and no deep target. Bit of a fumble. Now it's somebody else's problem. McLean comes back to Armfield. Armfield just lays it delicately over the top. That was a clever kick. Well done by Yaron. He didn't stop. He ran on, and now he's got a chance to score from about 45 metres out, but he needs to take a few deep breaths.
Well, it's going to require poise and composure with the football which Carlton display. There's not necessarily going to be conventional forward thrust.
It's running and linking up,
it is, and it's just waiting for an opportunity to present itself, and that might be a kick to space, or it might be a little dinky 15-metre kick over the top.
So Yaron just inside 50, sets it on its way. That would have looked good off the boot. Just misses to the right-hand side. Carlton stretched their lead. It's out to 18 now, or rather 16. Certainly we didn't expect to find this in the early going of the second term when we arrived tonight. At least I didn't.
No, you're not on your own, Dennis. Swan from Shaw. What a remarkable player Swanee is. He's been averaging 35 this year. Just the great accumulator, isn't he?
It's a good look up the screen as to what he's got to work with. Harry O'Brien's come up to link up to free the uncontested ball, but then, as you saw on screen, had no other option than to go down the line.
Jamison timed the ball really well that time against Cloak. Side bottom and Elliott combined. Thomas good. And then Blair holds it up cleverly. Wellingham, such a neat player, Wellingham. Kicks the ball to half forward. Cloak gets rid of Robinson. It's a free kick.
Great coverage by Robinson, though. He obviously, Cloak had actually dropped Jamison off, but Robinson got there. It was always going to be a little bit of trouble in the man-to-man contest, but found the front position at least.
It's a dangerous kick to Scotland. Jolly, Scotland back turned okay. Back to Watson, a natural lefty. Now can Walker take a big one here? He comes in hard on Reed. Gets to his feet, that's well played. Simpson's in trouble, great tackle. Ball in dispute, Armfield's been important. He worries Clark towards the line. Side bottom, and that's another win for Carlton.
So Lee, you've spoken about the intensity, and Brett Ratton and all the fans would be happy with that. What can you do on top of that to ensure that you keep persisting forward?
Well, I think, again, they're feeling better about themselves. They've just got to keep playing quick. If they make an odd mistake, they've got to live with that, because if they've got to play the ball quick. If they play it slow, that'll play into Collingwood's hands, the way I see it.
Side bottom across to Thomas. Curnow worked hard in that pack for no return. For Solo. Instigated this run as Thomas runs into a dead end. Eventually, though, lays it off to Blair. Blair goes inside the forward 50, and Cloak came back to the football. Jamison pleads his case. Nothing doing.
It's good work in tight there. Just found the opening, and really great work off the ball by Travis Cloak.
Jamison allowed him back inside somehow. He wasn't able to just keep him boundary side.
Cloak, who got the opening goal of the night, going at his and Collingwood's second, slides across the face and goes through for a minor score. It's been a long time between drinks for the Magpies.
37 minutes since Cloak kicked that first goal, so that's a drought for the Pies, isn't it? Thomas so good at that little handball stuff a moment ago. Thomas is so creative in close.
Such great burst when he sprints out of those stoppage situations.
So Curnow back in the team. Hillard out tonight, Curnow in. They have played together, but they don't often play on the same team. That's a terrible option. And that's a great mark.
Made it good, McLean. Made it good.
He's actually done all right since he's come on as a sub, McLean. He's had a fair bit of the ball. And that again is a dangerous one, but Joseph did well. And now the run of Judd. Now how can Juddy use it? He's going for Betts. Oh, read it beautifully, Shaw. He attacked the footy. Then he runs himself into a bit of a pickle, kicks the ball down the line. Robinson, so courageous Robinson, back to Judd.
Advantage, advantage.
And now Robinson gets it back. You heard the umpire. And Robinson takes his time, kicks to Walker. He almost, well, Betts took it off him. Now you better kick the goal. Now he gives it back to Walker. He kicks the goal. How good was that? The old 1-2. And Carlton are on a roll. Oh, I thought Eddie had messed it up. He was just teasing us, wasn't he, Dennis?
Well, I think he did, but he unmessed it.
That's it. Got the vacuum cleaner out and fixed it all up in a hurry. Well, this is interesting. I mean, suddenly the scoreboard's significant, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not a 9-point lead anymore.
No, and Collingwood aren't playing well. That's the bottom line, isn't it? They're being rushed and their disposal is poor.
Just a couple of really significant individual efforts. Brock McLean stood up when he needed to across half-back. We spoke about Andrew Walker as the option for Carlton going forward. He's got himself involved. Eddie Betts was lively, really positive signs.
Blair goes after the football. Cruiser goes after him. Got him too. Blair slung, but careless by Cruiser. Great effort though. Blair immediately realises nobody's standing the mark, goes down towards half forward. Payne comes up and takes a strong one. Payne back to Blair. Blair busy trying to lift his team to Fasolo. Can he match Walker's effort at the other end? No. Most don't like him. He starts it way out to the right. Lucky to score a behind right there, the boy from East Fremantle.
He got the goal down the other end, Walker, but I think the most significant thing is the high ball he jumped at.
Yep.
Every time there's a high ball, Walker has to think, I'm the big guy down here, I've got to jump at it. If he marks 1 out of 20, that's fine, but get his hands to the footy.
Just can't be outmarked. That's the
Don't let himself be outmarked.
And with Garlett and Betts maybe at his feet, right?
Thanks, Jared.
I mean, Betts is lively. Garlett's had a quiet night again tonight so far. But 5 goals to 1. So it's 40 minutes since Collingwood's kicked a goal, which is quite remarkable. I mean, they dominated the first 5 or 6 minutes of this match. It looked ominous. And then, you know, Hampson went off and Jamison looked in trouble. Kick forward by Wellingham. And Fasolo's been very, very lively. He is a lovely kick, Fasolo. He missed one a moment ago. He hit the post in the opening quarter. If the siren had sounded now and they needed this to win, you wouldn't bet against him. He's that sort of guy, Fasolo. Really skillful. Beautiful shot for goal. And, well, he's had 3 shots for goal tonight. And Timmy hasn't scored one.
The Pies have got injury concern. Marley Williams left the ground at the 5.5-minute mark of this quarter with a shoulder concern. He went downstairs with the medicos. He hasn't reappeared, and Sinclair has been warming up, so they may be forced to make a change to the Pies.
Carazzo with the football goes very short to Scotland. It's all about the Magpies. Played over 50 games for them. His career really has taken off.
Come back still. That's it.
Tell Carlton want to change direction, don't they? They're going to take the punt, but they're not going to kick down the line if they can help it.
Yarron. Not a good kick coming out. O'Brien lost it. McLean knocks it forward. Well played. Garlett's got it close to the boundary line. Thomas in pursuit. Kicks it along that line. Dygan let it bounce. Looks inside. Wheels back towards the boundary. Now he's in trouble. Robinson on the overlap. Plenty of Collingwood players around the football. Goal sack. Shepherded there for sure. Back it came to Beams. By his lofty standards in recent weeks, not one of his stellar games so far. For Solo to Wellingham. Oh, brilliant work by Blair. Swan, haven't seen a lot of him, but he saw something upfield that suited him very much. Gave it to Payne. Payne turns around and kicks the goal. Doesn't take much for Dane Swan to impact the game.
He's kicked a goal in every match he's played, Payne. I know it's a short career so far, but it's a good way to start. And Swan's vision there was just terrific. It was Dygan had an opportunity there. Armfield was on. They just had to have the vision.
Just had to go.
Yeah, they did. They had to go. And they backtracked instead of going forward. Didn't roll the dice. Had to.
use going forward, but it was really the turnover from Carlton's half-forward line that just created... They only just had to maintain possession on the way through Collingwood. They had the extra player forward.
So 43 minutes between Collingwood goals. Simpson against the flow, dropped it down. Gibbs has been pretty good. Wellingham's quick kick forward, and Dawes will get it. So got to make sure that the floodgates don't open here. They've done so well, Carlton, to get a 3-goal lead. McGuinness' first match tonight. And Dawes, whose set shots have been a bit of a worry all year, but he kicked 3 goals against the Dockers last week, and he's got a really good record against Carlton. He's in both 2010 and 2011, he kicked 3 goals in single matches. He averages 2 against the Blues. You saw the numbers for the set shots. They've been ordinary, and they're not improving with that one.
It's an advantage, Bruce, that Collingwood do have when they can get a clear centre clearance like that. They can kick the ball with confidence to at least a contest, but need to make it count.
So Jamison uncertain, now he's going to go long.
Outside the 50 then. Big leap by Betts. Well done in front by Beams. Hands to it first. Fell to his own advantage. Wellingham surrounded by 4 Carlton players. One of whom is Gibbs going back. Well done by Dawes. Knocks it towards goal. Coming up to assist is Payne. Grabbed in there by McGuinness. Just scrambles it outside the 50. Jolly the big leap. Knocks it down. Thomas deliberately didn't get the 15. Buckley in reverse. Back to Thomas. Tries to hand pass to himself along the boundary. But in the interim, it floated out. So a boundary throw in. Collingwood, you just feel they've upped the ante in the last couple of minutes. Cruiser and Jolly. Jolly with his strength and the free hand. Knocked it down, looking for Swan. Thomas found a way through. Got too far, actually. He thought he was going to be untroubled. Looked up and there were 2 Carlton players waiting. And now the mark is taken by Carrazza.
You look at Cruiser and Jolly, both coaches might play the same game. They just might ruck the whole game, both of them. I mean, if the Collingwood may think if Cruiser's on the whole game, we'll let Dawes play forward where it suits him.
So Yaron off on another one of his runs, but that one not quite so long, and he finds Simpson out wide.
He's got McLean over the top.
Yep, and can he find him? Well, it's a slowish kick. McLean's got to take the mark, and he does. Tuvey came in very late. And then McLean, okay, well played. To Scotland, off that step. Daigan, but Shaw, who's a brilliant interceptor, and then runs off Daigan, and then piercing kick to Fasolo. To Beams, starting to build Beams, just like Collingwood are. To Wellingham, back to Beams. And Beams has to stop and prop a little bit. Now, he's normally a pretty good kick, Beams. He'll try and find somebody. Kicks to full forward, Dawes pushed out. Joseph wants the boundary line, finds it, boundary throw in.
That last forward foray by Carlton really did highlight the challenge they've got. Brock McLean was out, he had a Daigan free. We see it here. The kick wasn't quite in. Daigan's not quite big enough to really influence a contest like that.
That wasn't a Sharon. Out of the congestion, Thomas! He knew which one to go after. So Collingwood get their 3rd goal.
Let's just let go, Kane.
And now they're coming back at Carlton.
Please let him go, Kane. Jared. Alex, move away, please, Brock.
Very polite by umpire McInerney. 5-3-33 Carlton, 3-8-26 Collingwood. And we've both made the point now that suddenly momentum is starting to wear black and white.
That's Alex.
Just see how open it is there from the stoppage there. Dale Thomas up to 16 disposals. He's really starting to put his stamp on the game. Fantastic work inside. He makes really good decisions, draws his opponent, executes well out of a stoppage.
Free kick. Pass the ball.
He might be a daisy, but he's one tough nut, isn't he? I mean, he's gritted his teeth, Thomas, in the last 10 minutes and made a difference. Cruiser's kick forward. Daigan out positioned. Gave a free kick away, I thought, but Maxwell didn't get it. Blair so good. Side bottom back to Maxwell. Now Williams back on the ground. That was a good tackle from Garlett. Walker behind McLean. McLean under pressure off a step. Garlett to Judd. And then Judd with a left footer. It's going to be a Betts mark.
He must have been about an inch outside the goal line.
I reckon his shorts might have been in the goal square. Does that count?
They're long again tonight, aren't they? So you can see where Daisy Thomas has positioned himself now. The umpire's telling Daisy, and Eddie kicks the goal. Carlton needed it. They get a bit of breathing space again.
Well, I think Judd was going for goal, but it worked out okay.
Score assist then. But spongy goal, Dennis. They sort of, you feel like they're going to have to sponge a lot of goals, aren't they?
Yeah, well, even in the first quarter they were doing it a bit, weren't they? I mean, it was always on the break. So 13 points. Real interesting stage now, 5 minutes out from half-time.
Well, Judd just across to Eddie Betts there, but the man that's really concerning Carlton this quarter is Thomas. He's had 11 touches already this quarter, so they probably just need to sit a little bit tighter on Daisy Thomas. He's the one that's getting off the chain at the moment.
He didn't last week. Clancy Pearce did a good job for the Fremantle Dockers. There's a kick towards half forward, chopped off by Reid, drives it towards the outer side, coming to meet the half volley there. Payne couldn't control it. Robinson went to ground. Tui's in trouble, tried to give it to Yaron, now decides to go to Gibbs. He's hot too, down he goes. Side bottom, spins out of trouble, jams it on the boot, it floats inside the forward 50. Thumped away down there by Scotland, taken by McLean. Curno's hand pass on the bounce to Judd, tries to force it forward. Oh, that was deft by side bottom, but chopped off by the little fellow there, Garland, who hooks it down towards half forward, and the mark is taken by Maxwell. Maxwell to the run of Reid. Well inside his own defensive 50 to Buckley. Normally a good kick, Buckley. Man on the move. It's Thomas again, and he gets to it right on the wing.
Had a fantastic quarter, Thomas, and it was a good kick by Buckley. And back he goes to Buckley. Gets a lot of the ball, Buckley. That one not so good, and Simpson pinged it off to Walker. They can construct something here. Collins, our Betts is on. Collins goes to him, and he's going to kick a second late in the first half. So that turnover through the centre. So Buckley thinking about Buckley right now.
He does have the odd turnover, Buckley. I mean, that's worth going as long as it, but if it gets intercepted, you're completely opened up, of course, and the ball hanging in the air, poor kick. Again, Carlton have been able to rush it forward, but they were quick to get there to create the turnover.
Should be his 30th goal for the year. It is. Carlton kick away again. I reckon you came here tonight, Dennis, and you said to yourself, if Carlton are 3 goals in front of half-time, that's perfect for a good match.
Yep. We're going to get that by the looks of it.
It's been a good reply by them, hasn't it? Because 5 minutes ago, Collingwood looked like they might be in front at half-time, didn't they?
No, they did pound away.
Betts is looking dangerous.
Well, he kicked 5 earlier this year, and suddenly now they're going to have to watch him pretty closely, aren't they?
Who has been good since he's come on as from the sub is McLean. He's played, I reckon, the best 30 minutes of footy I've seen him play, well, almost since he's gone to Carlton.
Knocked down by Jolly with the backhand, stolen by Judd in the grasp. He got the kick away. On his knees, Swan at close quarters gave it to Tuvey. Haven't called his name too often tonight. Getting out of trouble at least initially there, but quickly into it was Robinson. Swan brilliantly done. Over the shoulder to Buckley, to Wellingham. Now Jolly tracks the ball down towards half forward in the opposite direction. Cloak tried to keep it alive, went to Fasolo, back to Cloak, inside the centre square. Long bomb down towards full forward. Watson did okay that time. Awkward bouncing ball. Tui stood up. Watson not so good that time. Across the line by Goldsack. So they're getting the bad there with Watson. That was a good tackle. Forced the error. We've got a boundary throw in. Eddie Betts, 30 goals now for the Blues. Next best is Sean Hampson with 19 off the ground.
Cruiser won the tap. Joseph has to backtrack, and I think they'll concede it behind. They do. So it's a 3-goal margin. Pretty late now in this first half. So Judd wanted it short. Watson's decided that he'll catch his breath for a moment.
Please, Michael.
Straight down the centre. Cruiser the target.
Holding the arm. Matthew Cruiser.
So that's a good result, isn't it? For a 50-50 ball.
When you go down the middle.
Play on.
Cruisers punched the ball out wide. Careful! Well, they messed each other up a bit. Now Walker off a step. Well played to Robinson. Robinson's been pretty good. And then pierces the ball forward into the pocket. Garland, who's got busier in this quarter, shows the footy. Back to Walker. Walker's handball to Collins. Collins stops and props. Well, he did everything right but kicked the goal. But Walker up and going a bit. Garland just getting a little bit of ball. Betts has kicked 2. They're the 3 blokes that kicked more than 150 goals between them last year.
And very few, well, Betts has still been up there, but Walker just hasn't been able to get in the goal scoring at all this year.
Real sense of deja vu too, very much like that round 3 game when Carlton prevailed. It was the high point of their season. They were quite outstanding on that particular night. Side bottom gets 50. The pace up forward. And the way they bring the ball in is certainly making Collingwood work overtime. Side bottom gets the 50, just pops it inside the forward 50 then. Off the hands of Scotland, it falls behind the Gibbs. Judd back to the run of Gibbs. So good at doing this tonight. Goes short to Dygan. Brett Grattan's had a big night as well. He's influenced what we've seen. It was about this time last week he was contemplating DIY acupuncture, I think. They were in trouble. The game was getting away, but not tonight. He'll go in pumped up. Two really don't go together. There goes the short one from Jamieson. It wasn't good. Side bottom gets across and takes the mark again. Side bottom is lifting. This man doesn't need to. He's been strong throughout. Thomas short. Jolly. 55 metres out. Now, if he were 10 metres closer to goal, he'd have a chance. Lays it off to Thomas. Thomas kicks from 55. Still hasn't got the distance. It's going to be a free kick to goal sack.
In the goal square. In the goal square. It was in the goal square. Yep.
In the goal square.
So he'll take the kick directly in front.
Thanks, Bryce.
Gibbs not moving. Doesn't matter much. Goal sack. Pops it through. And they needed that one. 35 seconds out from half-time.
Yeah, big blow. Look at
Big call, isn't it?
Yeah.
To, you know, the difference between whether Gibbs marks the ball.
What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, it's hands in the back.
But Lee, the problem for Carlton was Jamieson, who had a brain fade with the footy a couple of minutes earlier.
He needed Collins to come at him, and Collins stayed back and hoping to get on the end of a 50-metre pass rather than maybe a 35-metre. But nevertheless, if you go into the centre,
he had an option wide.
Square,
He had an option wide.
But I think they want to attack through the middle, so I think the principle's okay. But if you attack through the middle and you turn the ball over, well, that's the downside, obviously. But I think Carlton have to take risks. They have to keep moving the ball quickly, because that's the one advantage they've got.
So Collingwood get one of the goals back. Cruiser belts the ball out. Clark, good tackle, just drops it down. Buckley, that's a great tackle by Curnow. And now overrunning it for Solo. Back to Clark. He did well to Swan. And then Swan through the centre wing, and side bottom couldn't quite get it. So what's Swanee got just before half-time? 16. Thomas 19. Side bottom's up to 12. Where's Beams? Beams on 12. So they're not bad numbers, but Carlton would take those, wouldn't they, before the game? Here's Robinson. High ball forward. Well, what a great first half we've seen. Carlton have come to play against the team going for 11 straight. And at half-time, it's perfectly set up. We've got a huge half-time coming up.
7-4, 4-9.
Walker starting out of the square. He's going to become really important this second half, providing a tall target for the Blues.
The game, as Sherlock used to say, is afoot. Opening bounce, second half. Umpire McInerney puts it down. Doesn't go that high. One down by Jolly. Blair, that's how the game started. Jolly to Blair, but this time Blair doesn't find any space. And the ball up.
So 7 clearances, Blair, clearly leading the Collingwood midfield in that department at the moment.
What a player he's become. Jolly in front again, knocks it down. Shark by Scotland, goes back to Yaron. Tries to wrong foot a couple, eventually forced a hand pass to Gibbs. Across it comes to a youngster who's made a good impression. McGuinness drives it down towards half forward. Thomas had to wait. Dygan knocked it away. Simpson taken down. Ball fell out. Robinson in trouble. Stolen away by Tuvey. Gets a hand pass to Beams. At close quarters to Thomas. Thomas around the boundary line. Very close to that boundary. In fact, I think it's gone out on the full. It has.
So Daisy up and going early.
That's Jackson. Play on.
So McGuinness goes back. Gibbs been very, very good. Yaron, this has been his feature. His hard run. That's a beautiful kick. He laced it out to Betts. Now, that was interesting. They might have close to 50, I reckon.
Almost pinned him.
Well done by Walker. Now, can he hook it around? He does hook it, but it's not going to be a score. Collingwood have got all the numbers. And Thomas takes the mark and then has it smothered. Garlett, Armfield. Armfield, has he got enough on it? Well, he's got enough on it, but it's not straight. And it's a behind. So Thomas there.
Or he's kicked a leg here, Bruce.
Yeah, he's hurt himself big time, hasn't he?
Gee, that'd be a blow, wouldn't it?
He started the second half like a house on fire. He's an extraordinary work rate. Goes in for the tackle, but he's in real strife here.
That could be real serious. Well, to sustain a great bat, not that I'm a doctor, but dangerous practice. Inadvertently kicking somebody in the leg as you're trying to kick the footy. Carranza gets it out of the pack. Scotland. Curnow did well, bounced through the pack, kicks it down towards the pocket, and it goes out of bounds. Well, he's been brave. Just watch this again.
Turf time.
So all that momentum going forward suddenly stopped. But he's doing the honourable thing. He's trying to run it off like Ron Burgundy. In trouble there is Scotland. Loops it over the top. Well done, Judd, Garlett and Carranza combining. But Blair broke in on the party. And he's just working Carranza over momentarily. Takes a bit to do that, though. Umpire having none of that. So boundary throw in.
Jolly and Cruiser. See what a battle they're having. And it's going to be a long one, isn't it? Swan's handball. Gee, Jolly did so well there and getting the ball forward. Kicked by Fasolo. Covers a bit of ground for Solo. Dawes and Watson. In hard McGuinness. On the up, Jamison, a bit slow, Toohey, and cut off by Buckley, and that's a beautiful kick. And Collingwood are going to get the first goal after half-time. He's got it side bottom. It was a dribble in the end, but it was a goal.
No, you're being kind, Bruce. That wasn't a dribble, that was a miss. But somehow he was able to redeem the situation, Sidey. Most unlike him. Just a straight up and down mark, that one. And then he overran it. And then eventually, I think he inadvertently got a boot to it. Still, I'll take them. The setup was good. But you are a kind man.
Here's the high shot coming in. If Daisy Thomas is the largest work rate of the Collingwood Footy Club, still side bottom wouldn't be too far behind. He's come from the middle of the ground. You see Cade Simpson just off the back of screen. That's terrific work rate and unconventional, still 6 points.
Meanwhile, back at the game, Cruiser towards half forward. Tumbling mark is taken by Robinson. Now he's a long kick, but he'll kick from about 60. In the goal square, Walker and Reid. Long kick goes in their direction, well, sort of. Skews off and bounces out of bounds in the pocket. There you go. Eventually, side bottom after a lot of hard work in the build-up. Almost an involuntary boot putting it through. Swan hooks it outside the 50. Payne goes across on the angle. Harris there by McGuinness, and the ball spills out of bounds.
Been together a bit, those two youngsters, haven't they? Payne and McGuinness. Payne goaling in the first half, as he's done in each of the games so far. Sinclair's had a couple of chances to come on. Williams earlier looked like he might be in trouble. His heart rate would have gone up when Daisy ran to the bench. Wellingham to Swan. Collingwood eroding this lead. They've kicked the last 2 goals of the match, one just before half-time. McGuinness probably got a little push in the back, but he hasn't been able to get the ball out. And now an umpiring decision, a ball up. Watson in there as well.
Thank you.
Along with Payne now.
Thank you.
McLean's been good. We've talked about him. Swan and Judd, the last 2 Brownlow medalists,
Come on.
running together in this half. So the bounce maybe favoured Jolly slightly. Simpson read it well. Gibbs has been excellent. Off a step. Robinson front spot. Gituvi was so important there. And Beams release One Dane to another. Kicks to half forward. Cloak just got underneath. Elliott ran hard and a boundary throw in, but Collingwood are tightening the screw on Carlton now.
How about that? Promoter's dream.
It's really fascinating, Dennis, watching those two great players work away from the stop. He's not necessarily putting time into each other, but both make outstanding decisions.
Jolly. Clean possession, kicks it straight up in the air. Well, virtually would have been paid a mark. It falls to Wellingham. Boot to ball. Scotland tries to release it to Simpson. He tries to release himself and did brilliantly. Flipped it across towards Tui to Judd. Judd kicks it up towards the wing. In front there was Shaw. Crumbing it was Armfield. Shaw did brilliantly. Extricated a very tough ball. Gave it to O'Brien. Short to Sidebottom.
Dennis, that's it.
Sidebottom who got the last goal. Just short of the wing. Jams it inside the centre square. Clark, a late inclusion. Sends it deep into attack now. Off hands. Dawes the recovery. Blair, the opportunity. Not a good kick. Going back with the flat of it. Wellingham. Now it's gone across the line. And behind, there's Thomas. Well, he looks better than last time we saw him.
Tim, what have you got for us, mate?
Well, he still looks proper. He's just come back out onto the ground there. You can see him doing some warm-ups on the sidelines there, but they've obviously taped that. They might have even jabbed it, but they're still just having a good look at it before they send him back out.
Watson called to go on now. He kicks a high ball to half-back. Carlton need to try and get it out of Collingwood's forward line. Collingwood really getting on top here. That's not good. At least it stayed in. And belted forward by the Pies. Blair so busy. Carazzo clever there. Just took his running. Robinson's vision. Carazzo did brilliantly well. He was a clever player there to Collins. And then Collins off the step. Now can Walker expose Collingwood here. He's working through. Dygan needs a bounce. Goes back to Scotland. Judd provides the run. Arches his back, the skipper, and does the right thing. Well, they came in the same package, didn't they? Armfield and Judd.
He ran from defence, Judd. At the moment, he just doesn't look like he's got that yard of acceleration to sort of get away from the pressure, but even under pressure, that was a terrific contest win and evasion. But Judd was just good enough to find the free player.
Hasn't missed a set shot this year, Armfield. That'll do him in, but he's been very good over the last 6 weeks. They need this. And that's awful. And the stats will still say he's 3 goals, 0 from set shots, but it doesn't tell the whole story. There's Daisy getting warmed up.
I hope he hasn't had a jab. I think when you start to jab ankles and feet and those sorts of things, you can throw the biomechanics out, and he's too valuable a player to run that risk.
Diving through there was Blair. Fearless, comes to Cruiser, smothered off the boot, upended, Sidebottom, gets it across to Blair. That was clever. Swan, well, that's holding the footy. Great tackle by Robinson.
Under pressure.
He's always Adam Robinson, isn't he?
Time back on.
He's a real go. And that's those chase down tackles in the defensive 50, obviously, because you've got a set shot at goal. And the tackling effort was what started the momentum Carlton's way early. And they're up to 44 now. They're going to need to have 80 or 90, I suspect, to hold Collingwood out.
Sometimes having supreme confidence in your own ability, as Swan did there, doesn't take into account the tackler.
Oh, he missed it.
And Robinson has missed. Taunting going on, good-natured in the crowd. It's a time-honoured rivalry, this one. Heath Shaw's got the footy. Carlton have an 8-point lead.
Josh just slips in the 245th meeting, Dennis, so that is a long relationship, isn't it?
Sorry.
Gee, they've missed a couple. They've been accurate tonight, but they've missed 2 big kicks in this quarter. Armfield and Robinson. And is that technique or temperament in the end? You know, that's the question that psychologists would ask, wouldn't they? Do you miss because you can't seize the moment, or do you miss because your technique's all wrong? I mean, he got the big hook going there, Robinson. Just had to kick the goal. Simpson belting forward. Oh, well done, Reid. Garlett needs a goal, and he misses.
Well, I might defer to Lee. I only kicked 12 goals, and Lee kicked plenty more than me. So, Lee, have you got an answer?
Well, he was about 25 metres out. I mean, I don't think it's a technique issue. He just didn't handle the pressure, basically.
Well, they've got a guy they can ask, Bruce. Dygan at 3/4 time.
Yeah.
So Thomas short. So he's back on Thomas. So Carlton have missed 3 really gettables, haven't they?
They have. Here's Tuvey. He's warmed up now. The longer it's gone, the better he's got. Young Williams off half-back, drives it towards half-forward. Up in front was Elliott, falls behind. Cloak trying to get out with the football. Footy came out, not Cloak. Yarran, Scotland, Curnow, Judd. This is Collins through midfield. I think Judd is relishing the space he's getting at the present time. Ball comes across the ground. Well done by Goldsack. Bought some time and space for Shaw, who goes to half-forward. Payne turns around. Has a bounce, albeit a rather untidy one, and then slots the goal. 3 points the difference. Collingwood are marching.
She gave a little skip there, Payne. It was a lovely little celebration, but Collins' kick just asked so much of Armfield against 3 opponents, and then Collingwood had an open slather, didn't they? So Sinclair comes on.
Yes, it was a bad execution, bad decision and a bad execution by Collins. Bad turnover.
So Payne kicks the goal and goes off.
Well, Payne's reward for kicking this goal is that he's just been subbed off. So he did get injured early in the game. It looked like he might have had a corked buttock at some stage. Might have been his left buttock early in that game. You see Sinclair now has replaced him, so that's even more run for the Pies out there.
Kicked 6 goals in the last 2 games he's played. Sinclair. Payne with a little goose step there after the goal. So the sub on, and Collingwood now the closest they've been in a long, long time in this match. Carlton missing shots at one end, couple of turnovers. They need to dig now. Scotland had it taken away by Blair, who was so good. Got in lower and quicker. A kick forward by Wellingham, and a good mark taken by Joseph. Remember the first time they played, we talked about Carlton getting lower and quicker than Collingwood that night.
Yeah. That effort by Blair was outstanding. Technique was spot on. Got in, kept his body position spot on.
So Cruiser, Curnow, Carazzo, a lose of Carazzo. Scotland backtracks. Yarran's tried to be creative. Well, he used his imagination. Carazzo.
This is Gibbs. None of the football tonight. Bounces one across to Collins. Beats a would-be tackler. Looks inside the forward 50. O'Brien in position A. Big fist on it. Didn't go very far though. Judd lurking. Beats one man. Swings it out wide. Armfield. No, it's not. It's Watson. Had the choice of a few out there. Watson goes long down towards full forward. Mark is taken though by Maxwell. That was a very poor effort by Watson. Tried to kick the skin off it. Didn't go very far. Swan to side bottom. Swan runs on. Too nimble for Watson. Sweeps one forward. Goldsack side bottom still going. Getting tired. Kick of a tired man. Bounces it down towards the 50. Brilliantly done by Elliott. Gets free. Tackled as he kicked by Joseph. Floats down towards full forward. Tui. That was a brilliant effort. Got his hands to it and held on.
If they get out of this here, Carlton, Watson can thank Tui for that. It was a kick going forward of an inexperienced player, just really didn't seize the option.
Curnow took it in the end. So Collingwood with the last 3 goals of this match. Robinson, it's been terrific, Robinson. I mean, he missed a big kick, but he's been so combative. I think there's an injury for Collingwood here too. Good mark by Walker. Marley Williams has really hurt himself here. Now can Walker break doors? Doesn't have to. McLean needs to be clean, and he is. Now Armfield, he's a little further out than he was when he had that fateful shot as Williams goes down the race for the 2nd time tonight, but that looks a more serious injury. And then Armfield kicks out as straight as a gun barrel. And it's a behind. So Tim, what have you got, mate?
Well, I think that Pies might have been a bit hasty in substituting or subbing Payne out of the game, because we're watching Daisy Thomas too. He's really struggling to get across the ground, and now they've lost Williams again with his shoulder, so they've got some real injury concerns, the Pies.
O'Brien goes to the other side. Joseph improvising did well. Only his father was side bottom. This guy could be the X factor. Before he got hurt, he was really looking the goods. He comes across the ground, Sinclair. Buckley had to wait, or is it Wellingham? It's Wellingham. He looks down towards half forward and Thomas. So an immediate fitness test for him. Runs inside the forward 50, spears the ball to Cloak.
Great composure, isn't it, by Thomas? He was just waiting for a forward to come at him. If the forward didn't come at him, well, then he'd settle and have a shot at goal. But he just thought his way through really well. A little short pass to Cloak, 15 metres out, just a better percentage than having that set shot from the angle from about 40.
Stark contrast to what Tommy was talking about too. Watson at the other end, just taking his time, Thomas, but that kick isn't a good one from Cloak, so it doesn't do the pass. And the good work that led up to it justice. It's a behind.
So he's missed a couple of set shots tonight, Cloak. He's been pretty good in the set shots so far this year. Curnow, Collins, been handy Collins. He's made a couple of blues, but kicked a goal early. Played 4 consecutive matches, 2 as sub, and then was dropped. And back in tonight. Now, spears that low, but Maxwell, good mark. Didn't give McLean much of a chance to kick. Maxwell concedes to Jolly. Collingwood running hard everywhere. So Swan in the back half, along with Thomas. He's been caught a couple of times tonight, Swanee. He drew Armfield and worked him hard. And that's Simpson. That's courageous. He's been absolutely poleaxed. And then Betts will get a free kick against Thomas. And Simpson's in a bad way here.
Kind of situation where the Carlton blokes have to keep their control, do nothing to give any of the umpire any excuse to reverse the decision. So you can stick up for your teammate, but you've got to make sure you don't risk the turnover of possession.
It's great courage. And he's been reported. Kate Simpson, it's a horrible feeling when you can cuss like that and you're trying to get yourself up and you can't get up. Totally out of control.
A high bump when your opponent is going for the marking contest, you'll get weeks for that.
Yeah, Wellingham's in trouble, no doubt.
That's gutsy by Simpson.
Well, cut it out, let him go, Alex.
So little spot fires everywhere. Simpson to come off. This is the bloke that's been indestructible. I mean, not quite Jimmy Stein's numbers, Simpson, but he has played 158 consecutive games. He's been durable and dependable, hasn't he?
It's a really tough. So Simpson, we're talking about here in a really bad way. We'll just get onto him after the set shot here from Eddie Betts.
Can Betts kick a third goal? They need it. It's not going to be there. Carlton just can't take their chances.
Now, well, Collingwood couldn't early, but all of a sudden in this quarter now, Carlton are terribly wasteful at their conversion.
Well aware of how high the stakes are, maybe. There goes the kick, sliding it up the middle. Judd got there a step late. Tuvey took the mark. Problematic, we'll see him back. I saw Brett Ratton shaking his head moments ago. Don't know if Wellingham came off the interchange bench. We'll check. Ball comes back towards Reid. Got it from Maxwell. Well, that's an indecisive kick, isn't it? The one man who made a decision was Betts. He came hard. Armfield lines up, and he's missed again. He's missed again. Well, his job hangs on a knife's edge. That's the way it's been written up, at least. 5 behinds now to Armfield. Is that what you're saying, Bruce?
No, Carlton have had 5 behinds in this quarter, and all of them have been, well,
very gettable. Yeah, very gettable.
I thought I'd missed something.
No, you never miss anything, Bill. Yarra at the back. Beam sweeps it. Gee, that's a funny old handball too. And now O'Brien. Collingwood have made a hard run at Carlton here. Sometimes it's hard to get past, though. They haven't quite got that goal, have they? They've got themselves up level. Carlton have actually kept them close by missing. Cloak kicked the first goal. Has had a couple of shots since then. Always looks dangerous, except when he kicks the ball out on the full.
That's prophetic, Bruce.
Alleviates the pressure there. There was a certain build there by Collingwood. That's a real blessing for the Blues.
I just felt 10 minutes ago they were going to be overrun, Carlton, but the last 5 minutes is sort of steady Eddie, isn't it? Excuse the pun.
There goes Watson, driving it beyond the wing. Dygan was up in front, comes down to Collins, didn't take it cleanly. Walker did. Carrazzo over the top. Collins does nicely, comes back towards the middle. Curnow took a while, kicks inside the forward 50, and the mark has been taken by Garland. Well, the Blues fans hold their collective breaths right here. this is a huge kick. 5 consecutive behinds for Carlton. Garlett yet to kick a goal tonight. He's had some pretty easy misses. The margin stands at 5 points Carlton's way. Kick is on the way. It's not a confident kick at all. It won't get the distance. It was offline as well. Opportunity for Thomas, and he slaps it across the boundary line.
It's a better result to throw in from here than a long point, so this ball will go right to the teeth of the square. Need to get on the move here, the Carlton mids.
It's 2-2 to 0-6 in this quarter, so 6 behinds to the Blues. And that's not counting the Garlett. Obviously missed shot, so
Out the way, Andrew. Harry,
they've
take it
had
away.
so many chances. They've had more scoring shots, ironically, in this term. Yet Collingwood looked so good early in the quarter. Swan's kick finds Maxwell. They're on here, the Pies. And Maxwell under pressure grubbers it to Sinclair. He can break the line, Sinclair. He's got Buckley running, but he looks up. Good opportunity for Jamison to cut that one off. And that's it. Well, he's lucky, Jamison.
Turno. Now.
Every now and then Michael Jamison can turn it over coming out of the back
coming
half.
through the middle.
Yeah. And he just... Well, a bit fortunate there. Now, Curno's slow kick. Joseph's got it. Now Jamison running for him, and then Joseph's kick down the line. Robinson, we've talked a lot about his play tonight. He's competed very, very hard.
They're hanging on, Carlton, but because of gets a bit of fatigue, a bit of pressure, they're now kicking the ball sideways a bit. They're not moving the ball forward quickly, which has worked for them pretty well most of the night.
Watson does well, comes to a long target. Judd just stepped onto the ground. He goes down towards half forward. Betts. He's about 65 metres out from goal. Betts, he's booted a couple, comes back to Gibbs alongside the centre square, just forward of the wing.
Just needs continual movement from his teammates here.
He's got Cruiser in deep, so they've got some height if they decide to go in.
Judd goes across the ground to Jamison. So Jamison in front of the great southern stand goes down towards the attacking 50 with courage. Shaw went back, Cruiser kept coming. Falls to Robinson, strong tackle got him down. Cruiser, great pickup for a big man, great agility, Armfield, gives a hand pass across towards Joseph, smothered off the boot chance for side bottom, fumbles it back inside the defensive 50, Clark's under pressure, finds Swan. Swan drives it towards the outer side wing, Carlton in best position, getting back is Joseph again, keeps it in, goes along the line to Jamison, that was risky, tries to go back to Joseph, boundary line is a friend for Carlton. It'll be thrown in.
They had a chance there, Carlton. They had possession, but Jamison's option, I think, was not a great one when he kicked the ball to half forward. Cruiser and Jolly, what a great job they both have done. McLean to Collins, to Judd. He's over 20 now, Judd. And that one bounced in and just out of play. Have you seen collectively the midfield battle? Has it been pretty even, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty good. I've certainly Carlton have more than held their own in there as a collective group. What are they, 25 to 19 in front in the clearances, so they've done a good job.
So Carazzo's part of that midfield, isn't he? To Gibbs, back to McLean, to Judd, some of the key midfielders. Judd creating, well played to Yaron. Now kick the goal, Yaron. Side steps, gets himself into a pickle, still got it, and goes bang. And did they need it? You betcha.
Well, I'd love to see a replay of that boundary throw-in. Fasolo was standing next to Judd and just moved off him and gave him 10 metres. Now, Judd, it's dicing with death, I think, if you're going to allow that to happen, because Judd is relishing this freedom. And he's having a big quarter now. At half-time, what, he was 14, so he's had 8. But he's using the ball well because he's not under pressure.
Well, here's the build-up here. Just see Chris Judd right in the middle. He's pushed off his direct opponent for Solo. And just watch the work rate. For Solo goes to Gibbs. Judd has the smarts to get back inside, and he just uses the ball so well. Doesn't bang long. Finds the direct option. I think it was Yaron. There's the goal.
So Collingwood out of the centre. So just a little bit of breathing space for the Blues. They've done well in the last 10 minutes. Goldsack's probing kick. Cloak, well done, Wellingham. And then Watson to Yaron. And then Yaron, geez, had an interesting night, Yaron, and that is a dangerous but brilliant kick in the end. It's always good when it comes off, isn't it? And then Scotland, that's a terrible handball. It's a poor kick to him.
play
And then
on,
Dawes, well, he's gone. And Judd takes the advantage. And Judd puts on those afterburners and finds Armfield. I tell you, if Carlton get the next one, you feel like they're not going to go away tonight. Now, Garlick could take on... no, he doesn't take Clark on. I thought he might have run around him for a moment. Done a Stephen Credial. That was a long time ago. Oh, no, Collingwood it was. I can't even remember who it was. And then Judd. Oh, what a quarter. How many's he had, Dennis, in this quarter? 10.
And this is decision-making that he's doing exceptionally well at the moment.
And, Tom, I think it was his third quarter last week where he had the big quarter against Hawthorn.
At 9 against Hawthorn.
Collingwood have played him off the leash, haven't they? I noticed Swan was running down the ground with him then, but hasn't been with him for most of the quarter. He was there early and now he's there late.
They're both playing their own game. Swan's had 27, Judd's had 24, but they're just two midfielders playing against each other.
McLean long, big leap at the back by Walker, falls in front. Garlett swings it back with his left boot. Oh, now that would have been something. That would have been unexpected given his night. Like, I reckon Lady Gaga turning up at Northcote on the 4th of July. The old social club was swinging. That's another story. 8-11 plays 6-11.
Both Swan and Judd have had 11 in this quarter, so...
Yeah, they're actually playing this. They're not playing on each other. They're playing the same position at the same time.
They're magnets next to each other on the box.
It's like the old time midfielders used to do.
So Sinclair, and not a great kick. Joseph should have taken the mark. He had the chance. Well, there's still plenty of... Well, how long is it to go? I put my glasses on. There's... oh, no, there's not plenty of time to go.
It's 33 minutes, Bruce.
Oh, Dennis, anyway, I had a birthday in the last month. Judge should have got a handball. Should have got a free kick, I should say. Back to Robinson, down low. Carlton have just got to hang on here. They've done really well, the Blues. I reckon everybody in this box 10 minutes ago would have had Collingwood in front at three-quarter time.
They were 13 points in front at half-time. They're still 12 in front. They had a lot of scoring shots. They've gone just as strong the third quarter as they were early.
Cruiser knocks it down. Straight to Beams, though. Beams kicks inside the forward 50. Cloak measured in his approach. Hooks it down towards full forward. This will be interesting for the young fella. McGuinness overran it. Now a chance for goal sack. Oh, good tackle by Watson. In comes Tui. They need to hold here. There's the siren. So things falling into place for the Blues. And when you look at that term, they probably could have almost blown off Collingwood. Their inaccuracy kept the Magpies in it. So at three-quarter time on Friday Night Football, Carlton 8-11, Collingwood is 6-12. Everything to play for.
Exactly right. It's going to be a big last quarter.
Okay, here's Bruce to get us underway.
But a terrific game on a Friday night at the G before a very big crowd. These two great rivals, and Carlton lead by 11 points. They've led for just about the whole night. Gibbs gets the ball forward. Walker held up. So it's the first time that Collingwood have trailed at three-quarter time since Adelaide round 9. They kicked 5-5 to 3 points that night. But probably more interestingly, only once have they come from further behind at three-quarter time and beaten Carlton. That's once only. 1970, a famous year for coming from behind. Round 8 at Waverley. Collingwood trailed by 20 points and got up and won. So all those matches between these two great teams, they need to do something a bit special here tonight. Cruiser taps forward. It's been a night of carnage. And a couple of reports, and one you feel to be pretty serious. Sinclair goes back to Fasolo. Good smother McLean. Well done by Cruiser. Judd running onto it. And then hooks the ball forward. Betts and O'Brien. Well played by Maxwell. Big kick for Daigan. He's kicked 2. He's kicked 3. Daigan and 3 in the one sentence.
Wow. There we go. That was terrific. We talked about being able to taste it. Well, it's on their lips now. And Collingwood could see those 11 straight just going down the gurgler, Bruce.
As you said, it's hard to keep winning. Brett Ratton, well, he's been under the pump for a while. It's been a masterstroke diving forward, hasn't it?
They ran it forward, but they created the turnover by the pressure on the Collingwood player on the way out. Well, when they got it back in, Daigan finished, Judd ran off the ball and Cruiser got involved. So all the good players got into the action.
Jolly knocks it down to Fasolo, kicks it down towards half forward, bounces very high. McGuinness got a fist on it, didn't knock it too far. Cloak goes back to side bottom forward of the wing, sends it down towards Goldsack, got his hands to it. Dawes trying to find a way through. Gibbs was waiting for him with attitude, and will have a ball up. So Nick Duigan, 3 goals. His previous 262 kicks had yielded 1. Master stroke by Brett Ratton. Will it be enough to get them over the line? Rucks lock up. Jolly slaps it wide. Judd at close quarters to McLean. Over the top. Cruiser breaks away. Spring in his step. Doesn't look tired. He's rucked alone tonight. Pushing the back. It'll be a free kick to Collingwood. It'll be taken by Reid.
Stood firm, Reid. So Robinson, now he plays on. Well, now has Betts taken the advantage? No. So Garlett's actually got busy tonight. He's been averaging 10 disposals this year. This is his 12th. McLean was too far for him. Betts could still be dangerous. Side bottom concedes a behind. And Carlton now lead by 3 goals.
We've had some great examples of what Carlton have done really well tonight. We saw a game tackle by Bryce Gibbs down at half-back against the larger man Chris Dawes, and then the follow-up on Ben Reid there. Intensity's been great all night by the Blues.
Can you imagine what the next 25 minutes mean to them? I mean, if they were to win tonight, it changes everything, doesn't it? And Collingwood could be as low as 5th at the end of this round if they were to lose tonight.
Long kick from Fasolo, missed by Yaron, falls at the back. Yaron had a good night. Silky comes away from half-back, pops it up to the wing. McLean, who came on as the sub, has been very good. Looks back inside the centre square, finds the Silk again. He's away. Yaron across the ground. Gibbs, will he run? No, he won't. Curnow is on for the short one. Ignores that. But McLean bobs up again. Little 1-2 between the pair. McLean goes for distance. Knows the MCG very well. Walker pushed out of the way by Goldsack. He kicks it directly onto the chest of Ed Curnow. Curnow just turns around and pops it to Collins. So distance will not be a problem. Collins has 1 goal. Came in a trade with the Tigers. Can have his biggest impact on his new club right here with this kick. You just get the feeling it'll be hard for Collingwood to come back from here. Momentum to start this final term. He's wearing navy blue. Collins right behind the kick. It's on the way. It's just working right to left. Misses by less than a metre.
Well, it's been the story of their second half, hasn't it? They've missed a lot of set shots. Wasn't quite going to be an Andreas Everett moment for him, but it's too long to go. But it was a big moment for Collins. Collingwood needing the next goal. They can work their way out of tight situations. We know that. Think back to that Adelaide match when they were so good under the pump. Now Joseph with courage. Well done. It's not a good sign for Collingwood, that. What a player this man is, Carrazzo. I mean, he's just...
He's a good player, isn't he? Just keeps finding the footy. He can play the shutdown role, or he can actually just go and play the normal conventional ball getter in there.
McGuinness, first match for him. Yaron, it's been the go-to so often. Just so silky, as Dennis said. And can he find Duigan? Well, he didn't need to, because Eddie was waiting and lurking. Yaron, Betts and Garlett. Well, the 3 amigos... They've got their hats back on tonight, haven't they? They've got the sombreros on top of the noggin.
Well, he's just been so much better tonight, Yaron, than he's been the last couple of months. He missed a bit of footy through injury, then he's been back maybe 4 weeks. But when he gets the ball, he takes on the tackler. Carlton always look at their best.
Biggest kick of the night by anybody. And Eddie goes bang, and Betts has done a Duigan and kicked 3. Oh, Dennis. I think Carlton were favourites for the flag when they beat Collingwood last night. I reckon now, for the first time tonight, they're favourites in this match.
I reckon you're right. Their pace is certainly unsettled. Collingwood tonight, along with some wonderful moves by their coach. Brett Ratton has done some of his best thinking with his back to the wall.
played a really strong leadership role in the forward 50 for Carlton. And just as that goal went through, he sure called in the defenders. He really set the tone, a bit like Reece Shaw actually did a couple of Friday nights ago for the Swans. Said, look, we need to settle down. We need to make sure we stay in control here, not panic.
Swan, the look-away hand pass. Comes to side bottom, goes down towards half forward. Elliott, who's been quiet, not so Judd. Gibbs, short one. A little indecisive. It bounces inside the centre square. Goldsack gets back. In his hip pocket is Joseph Blair. Did very nicely. Got it out to side bottom. Chips it wide. Sinclair just jabs it inside the forward 50. Swan, almost the mark, dropped it. Finds it on the deck. Is he being held without it? Flicks it towards goal. Lurking behind is Buckley. Strong tackle by Tui. Buckley got boot to ball. Sinclair smothered off the boot. Off the ground by Gibbs. Hectic stuff. Collingwood coming at Carlton. Robbins into the champ. Judd drives to the outer side. Dygan's in front. Fisted away by Maxwell. On his knees almost, Garlett. Had a second chance at it. Side bottom. Taken across the line by Dygan. It wasn't reversed. I think Dygan was the involuntary man there, just riding the man he'd tackled across the line. Well done, McLean.
Gee, what a win there for Carlton, for Swan to get the ball in the forward 50 and to be held up. That is a massive result. Gee, Juddy's had 2 big games against Collingwood this year. Yaron runs his full measure and does it again. He might get the Swiss Yaron the way he's... Well,
They look so much better when Yaron's running off halfback. I mean, he hasn't done it for a couple of months. Almost, you see what Yaron back in business is almost Carlton back in business.
He kicked the famous goal here this year, didn't he, Yaron, when he was in full flight?
It's great vision from Judd to bring the ball back inside. And the leading patterns here from Eddie Betts, just runs back towards goal, doubles up. Harry O'Brien never had touch and feel on him.
Well, I said Eddie's had the biggest kick of the night 2 minutes ago. Can he kick a fourth? He kicked 5 in round 3 and he's got 4 tonight. And they might be home, the Blues. Not sure if they can get back, Dennis.
Well, looking in the papers this morning, I think it was the Age I was looking in, no one selected Carlton, and with good reason. But gee, they belied that tonight. I'm baffled. I know Swan is doing some damage, but not to the same extent as Judd. I just can't believe they're letting him run as he likes. He's up to 29 now.
Great finish. I mean, it's amazing. We said last week, Carlton-Collingwood games, that Carlton get up when they're playing Collingwood.
Lee, you tipped it in the
Always,
first game.
I don't know whether it went that far, but
Take it.
strange things happen when Collingwood play Carlton on previous form.
You tipped it last week, and then you've come in with a royal we tonight. Don't be so modest. As the ball goes down towards half forward, Armfield comes across the ground. Thomas is running with Judd now, but I think the stable door was left open for too long. Goes down towards the pocket. The mark is taken by Clark. Plays on very close to the boundary line, and the mark is taken by Sinclair. Sinclair forward of left half back. Just pops it over the top. Buckley. Buckley drives it long down towards half forward. Watson came to the football, not in time. Cloak, strong hands. Running back is Shaw. Kick goes in that direction. Shaw takes the mark. Well, it's now or never now, and you think Carlton have got this game, but who knows? If Shaw would have kicked this, maybe there is a little hope. Everybody just ignoring the umpire. He's trying to set the mark down there.
Well, they've got to come out and win the game now. Collingwood take it on. Heath Shaw's come from half-back. He set the tone.
Well, Collingwood didn't kick a lot of goals last week, and they failed again to kick them tonight. There's Shaw. Kick is on the way. It's a good-looking kick. It slams into the post.
Geez, a magnificent play. I mean, that was just a wonderful mark. It was a good kick, but not the right result. But he showed a lot of leadership a moment ago when he called the team in together. So a little test here for Carlton. How do they hold their nerve? They're on a good lead. It's probably too big a lead, but it is Collingwood, and they are a winning team. Walker, good hands. Garlett hasn't kicked a goal, but he's been pretty handy. He's running hard. Tuvi must be quick. He took some ground off him. Garlett's kicked. Walker, Collins, still Collins. Okay, Walker's in trouble. They've messed it up, Carlton. They should have banged it forward. Reid kicks the ball to centre wing. Dawes and Tui. Dawes paddling, still paddling. Well, he had a really good all there, didn't he? Back to side bottom, back to Cloak. He'll wind it up, Cloak, with a high, hard one. This'll test Gibbs. And Willingham just...
Oh.
Is that a free kick?
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it looked like Gibbs was forced out of the contest unless he just collapsed out of it. We're interested in the replay here.
Hey, relax.
I think he just lost his balance, I think.
He might have collapsed. Willingham's so good overhead, and they get that goal. It was a minute later than sure, but maybe. Just made a mess of it, Carlton at half forward, didn't they? They had a few chances. They've mucked around a bit.
You're right about Tuvey too. Gee, that was a good chase, wasn't it? He actually corralled him and sent him back the other way, which was what he was trying to do. That was terrific.
He was Johan Blake and Garlett was Usain Bolt.
Yes. Usain's not going to run again until the Olympics.
No.
Wow.
Done a Ben Johnson. That's what he did in '88.
He looked like he was in a good position. I don't know. I still think he... Do you reckon Tom did get thrown out of it on the replay? I'm not sure.
I think Gibbs lost his feet. Just one leg went down and lost momentum and looked probably like contact that wasn't there.
Wellingham kicked the ball quickly too, realising now time the enemy of Collingwood. Kick comes out wide. Beams met solidly by Robinson. He's a bit of a barometer, Robinson, when he's going. Carrazzo did well on the ground, on the up, and they drive it forward. Curnow, but inside that defensive 50, O'Brien comes the other way. Sweeps a hand pass forward to Beams, who's been well held tonight. Shaw lays it across to Thomas. Thomas goes to the wing, taken by Cloak. Cloak looks down towards half forward. That's a lovely kick. What a beautiful kick. Dawes releases it to Goldsack. Well, Goldsack was sold into trouble there by Dawes. It made it very easy for Watson to come across and do the right thing. Still had some ground to make, but Goldsack had nowhere to go.
Collingwood threatening though, aren't they?
Yep.
Cruiser and Jolly, and then Carrazzo just couldn't break away, and it'll be a ball up.
He hasn't dominated the game. Do you reckon Cruz is pretty happy to the first ruck again tonight, though?
Yeah.
I think he is.
Yep.
Yeah.
It happens so oftenly when a ruckman, and they are born and bred ruckman, get that opportunity to really take reins, and you see it time and time again.
Take over the job that he's best at.
Yep.
I'll tell you what will be the big test, Lee. Do they pick Warnock next week without Hampson?
It might depend if Wade comes up, if Henderson comes up. But I mean, the fact is, Carlton haven't got a second ruckman, that's playing out there anywhere.
So Warnock probably comes in for North Melbourne, doesn't he?
Potentially.
And if you wanted an insight into the intensity Carlton there's the tackle stat, and probably the lack of it from Collingwood. He had 100 last week against Fremantle.
Carrazzo to Yaron, to Curnow. Well done, Collins, actually. Belted the ball forward. Diagon, that looked a free kick over the shoulder in the back, but nothing happening. And again, a ball up. But this is okay for Carlton, isn't it? They don't mind this happening for the moment.
Nick, please.
Diagon's been great. He's really given Nick Maxwell something to think about tonight. The only men inside the forward 50. Not many forward of centre, as you can see. It's going to be hard work to win from here. We're down inside the last 10 minutes. The umpire will ball it up on the wing.
Carlton still look more dangerous than Collingwood even now on the spread. When the ball gets into space, they look more chance of running onto it than the Collingwood group as a bunch.
Margin 24 points. Beams got it from Fasolo. Goes back to Clark. Garland arrived quickly. Clark too long. Not happy Clark, but good call by the official. So Garland, what a mixed bag he's had tonight.
Kind of way, got to use his speed. Got to use his speed to tackle as well as run to the footy.
It's a relaxed kick inside the forward 50, and as a result, it was perfectly timed and found the target amongst a lot of Collingwood tall timber. Collins. We've sung his praises on the kick before, so let's see what he can do from here. I think he's going to fashion something exotic. This always worries me. Around he comes, Collins. Kicks into the man on the mark. Well done by Shaw. Tuvey for the break from Beams. Kicks it up towards the wing. How will it bounce? Here's trouble for Carlton. Swan, corralled by Tui, looks back inside, brilliantly done. Sinclair, 70 metres out, it's all one-on-one deep. Carlton trying to flood back. Blair runs to a hole, takes the mark 40 metres out. Looks up, I think, almost to take a look at the clock. I don't think he was admiring the mark.
Yeah, we tried to fashion the inside kick, but gave the man on the mark a chance to get at him. Collins, that was a... should have been a score at least for Carlton, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
One of those beach runners that Lee just loves. Blair directly in front. Big kick this one. Kick is on the way. It's holding its line. Oh, it hit the post again. That's 2 posters in the final term. Shaw hit the post, and now Blair. Collingwood try as they might. Can't get Carlton in their sights just yet.
Collingwood need to be really brave now. Their halfbacks need to push right up. Leave the Carlton players behind them. You've got to actually go and take the ball off them at the earliest opportunity.
Oh, Robinson almost. Sorry, Tom. Cruiser down low. That's a good pick-up. So 3 posters for Collingwood tonight and 1 for Carlton. Just finally on the beach sprinters. We know you
short and squat. That's
look
all.
at this,
just
Robinson.
Short and squat.
But how good were you on the beach as a sprinter?
Well, I was pretty slow anywhere, to be honest, Bruce. But I was the shape of a beach sprinter.
Okay.
That's the best I could say.
So the speedo's on the beach, eh? Here's Blair. Collingwood still coming. Kicks to half forward. Yaron's been really good. Tui brought down, great tackle. And then Jamison takes a chance. McLean, really important when he came on, McLean, tonight. Scotland against the old team. And has he kept the ball in? I think he has. Kicks to centre wing. Jolly, Daigan. Thomas so good in that second quarter. Really hurt his foot early. And there's a bit of a blue. Be careful. So Daigan and Thomas sorting it out. So time the enemy for Collingwood. They've got to create 4 goals. It's hard to see them doing it. They've kicked 7 all night.
Jolly works his way in front. Cruiser reaches over the top. McLean again. Well, he's trying to save his career. He's done pretty well just filling in tonight, though. He was made the sub, a bit of a surprise, but he got into the action early. Daigan's got a case. Umpire's got the footy. Collingwood haven't got much time. Jolly backhands it down. Wellingham will get a free kick. He's on the wing. Clock is down to 6:42. Wellingham looking down the ground. Watson is the spear man. Well, he goes directly at Watson. It's 3-on-2 then. Reaching over the top, Jamison gets it out of bounds. So a boundary throw in just outside the 50. Collingwood press up with their players now. If they can win a loose ball here behind the pack, Fasolo is lurking. Good work by Betts, demanding that Yaron get back from the pack. He was looking for a kick there when he needed to be looking for Fasolo. Meantime, at the footy, Robinson took one from his teammate. Judd goes after it, feeds it to McLean. Across it comes to Curnow.
Careful kick, Daigan. Now he has to hang on to it here, Daigan. Collins gets involved. Good pick up by Tuvey, getting the ball forward. No free kick.
Away with that.
Handball by Robinson over his head. Judd's been superb. Swings it to Daigan. Daigan to Curnow. Curnow to McLean. Well, the handball wasn't great. Collins gets down low. Needs to get the handball out. He does to Curnow. High tackle. That was slack. He had him doors done and he didn't need to tackle him so high. And Lee, your famous minutes and goals is about to kick in, I think.
Yeah, they're going strong, Carlton. I mean, they're going just as well as Collingwood. Need a U-turn in the game for Collingwood to outscore them by 4 goals from this point on.
Well, Curnow's kick. Well, Jolly should have taken the mark in the end. He would have been uncontested and he belts the ball out of play.
That's as tangible an example of confidence, really, when you see a player like that. That would have been an uncontested mark there by Darren Jolly. Really experienced senior player. The Pies just down on their confidence at the moment.
Boundary throw in. Cruiser, Judd goes looking for a leading target in the forward line. Walker well held. O'Brien well slung and the ball spills out of bounds. We'll have a throw in. Judd is up to 32. Coming off 29 last week. So coming back to his best form after a particularly quiet week before that against the West Coast Eagles. That's McLean. Garlett trying to strip the ball away from Maxwell. Nothing doing, and the umpire will ball it up.
Juddy had 35, which is his season high against Collingwood in round 3.
Importantly, 17 kicks too, so he's been able to get clear and kick the ball.
So Carlton keeping it in the 50. Side bottom, Sinclair, Cruiser, and very important Cruiser. Left foot to the pocket, Walker and Reid. Can Walker turn his man? He does, and he puts the nail in the coffin. The Blues are back. He's kick 2. I think, Lee, you wanted Walker to go forward and kick goals, and he has.
And Cruiser's ability to actually get the second effort at ground level. He was the one who was the big fella who was prepared to get the ball on the ground. I mean, he really did make the goal out of nothing, this, didn't he, Walker? Just able to keep the ball in play and kick the goal. But Betts has got his 4, Dygan's got his 3. And keeping Collingwood to 7 goals, admittedly they've kicked 14 behinds, but there's been 5 rushed of those 14. So off the boot, it's only 7-9. Great defensive effort by Carlton.
The 65 tackles to 49 for Carlton have been great. And they just haven't missed them, Lee. When they've had an opportunity to tackle, we just saw Reid on that occasion. Missed the tackle, the Blues have nailed them every time.
Wide of the pack after some heavy work from Cruiser. Swan kicks it out towards the boundary, and it goes out of bounds. So the players have done very well tonight, and so is the coach.
Tell you what, the stands have emptied. Collingwood must be behind.
75,777.
Not at the moment, Bruce. I reckon about 50 here at the moment.
Jolly knocked it down. Robinson goes after the football. Some of the moves that Brett Ratton has orchestrated tonight have served his side very well. Footy's a funny thing. During the week, a lot of speculation about his future. He's back to the wall, and tonight he's responded. It's like a flat screen TV, but suddenly things are good. At least for the moment, it's that sort of industry. There goes the kick from Beams. Up goes Scotland, takes the mark.
I know you can only play what you got, but I don't think they're going to play 3 200-centimetre blokes again. No. I mean, it just slows you down too much.
Well, one of them mightn't be available for a while there.
Anyway, yeah.
And Hampson had started really well tonight. In the short time he was there, Judd pushed off it. And then Collins back. Well, Judd and Blair started so well. Carrazzo again has been fantastic. Collins has made some mistakes, but he's been handy. That kick forward. Oh, good contest, but the free kick. Harry O'Brien on Eddie Betts is something we might talk about after the match. Betts has kicked 9 goals on him in 2 matches so far this year.
That one.
O'Brien short. Dawes half volleyed it. And then O'Brien worried out of it. Cruiser. Gee, Robinson, well done. Garlett, still Garlett, little left footer, wobbling. Walker's got a taste for it. Dygan couldn't possibly get 4, could he? Off the ground by Clark. Gets it out wide. Shaw out on the full. Just with Collingwood.
That's tackling pressure again.
Yeah, it's indicative.
I mean, it's just been fantastic tonight. I mean, if you tackle well, you chase hard, you're always at least competitive. You have to make the opposition beat you.
Collingwood in their last 54 matches have lost only 6. 3 to the Cats, 2 to Hawthorn, and 1 to Carlton. They have been so hard to beat over the last 3 years, but the Blues are going to join the Hawks as having beaten them twice, and Geelong 3. So this is a mighty performance tonight.
Gibbs goes back to Jamison. 25 possessions now for Bryce Gibbs. Scotland would be relishing this. Carrazzo's got the football. Carrazzo up to 25 as well. Comes back to Gibbs. So junk time, but in the minds of the Blues and their supporters, anything but. This is celebration time. Tui pushed as he kicked, and the ball bounces out of bounds. And for Collingwood, a terrific run comes to an end. Nathan Buckley, never experienced, as I mentioned before, 10 wins in a row as a player. He's done it in his very first season as a coach, but tonight there's a chance that Collingwood not only will mark time, but take a tumble later in the round as this ball goes out of bounds on the full from the boot of Robinson.
And Collingwood's modest percentage now sort of it hurts them a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, they haven't actually had a whole lot of big wins, and percentage may well count between 1st and 4th, as high up as that.
Actually, Carlton have been so damaging to Collingwood, haven't they? They beat them by 10 goals early in the year, and tonight they'll probably flip them off top spot. Thomas, so good in that second quarter. And Jamison has been really brave. We didn't think he'd play much of this game. Jolly, still Jolly, got it from Goldsack, but nowhere to go. They retreat, Collingwood. Wellingham, who probably won't be playing next week. Good kick to Thomas, and then Thomas across the ground. Clark, who came in for Brown tonight. It's a mixed reaction about Brown. We're getting mixed messages, whether he had a bit of a knee or whether it was just the balance. Now Buckley winding up with a high, long ball forward. Cloak pushing out and takes the mark.
He's probably won the duel, Cloak, but Jamison has stopped him from being a dominating influence, and that's been a fair win in itself.
Kate Simpson hasn't missed a match since round 14, 2005. Heavily concussed tonight.
Big hit from Wellingham, who's on report as the kick goes from Cloak through. He gets his second goal. Had a poster earlier tonight in this term.
I've seen it many times when a teammate gets knocked out in an act of courage, and it sort of provides enormous inspiration.
Just got the games there coming up for the Blues. Well, on this form, they all look winnable, don't they?
But that's Friday night next week, North Melbourne.
That's going to be a huge one. But Sydney at home also, and Richmond, they'll be the side vying for Carlton for that bottom half of the 8th seed at the moment. And Kate Simpson, he's going to struggle to get up next week.
North Melbourne, some sort of a silly chance against the West Coast Eagles in Hobart, I reckon.
Gee, Collingwood a couple of tests in the next 2 weeks too, haven't they? Geelong and Hawthorn.
Things change very quickly in the AFL. Towards the wing, bullocking his way through. Scotland, knocked on there by McLean, sent back by Carrazza. This is Gibbs. Scotland. Yarran been so important back there. Quite often has been devoid of pressure. And McLean, well, what can you say about him? He's up to 28 possessions now.
Super sub, I think, Dennis. That's what we could say about him.
You'd have to think, if you were Carlton, though, about some missed opportunities with him. Obviously, he just fell out of favour and they just didn't give him a shot. And he's proven himself in the last couple of months. He hasn't been their worst player, that's for sure. Swan across the ground. Side bottom. Side bottom, number 22. Interesting, because this game is just running its course now. It's 40 years ago Sunday that another number 22, John Greening, was seriously injured behind the play, but that doesn't matter really in terms of what we've seen tonight. Carlton, against all the odds, come firing back.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. Send up, we'll keep our head up, and they will know that.